Hello, hello. Welcome to the Story Darlings podcast. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Tara.
How you doing, my friend?
I am doing great. It's been a pretty good week.
Yeah, I saw your post. You were out and about watching soccer. How was
Yeah, we
that?
had a really fun weekend. We went to the Sporting KC soccer match, which was the playoffs. So it was really fun. They did really good. And we were like 3 seats back from the field. So we got a really good show.
Oh yeah, is that what you're calling
Yes,
it?
yes, that's what I'm calling it. Um, yeah, I do have one complaint, and this is gonna be like very, I don't know, bad, but they all wore their shirts untucked, and I feel like they could have wore them tucked in.
Oh jeez. Who
Just
are they
saying.
playing?
The Vancouver Snowcaps or something like that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't either, really. Yeah, but it was a really good game. I had a lot of fun. I lost my wallet at the game though, which was kind of sad. Um, but somebody found it before I even realized it was missing and like Facebooked me and called me on Facebook Messenger and told me that they'd found my wallet and then met me to give it back to me. I was like, you are so sweet.
Yeah, that is incredibly fortunate. Like you were
Yes,
lucky.
yes. Incredibly fortunate and incredibly nice of them. And so my faith in humanity is restored after the last two episodes. So
Was it cold last night?
it was a little chilly, but not terrible. Justin was complaining the whole night and he had a coat on. I'm like, dude, chill. It's like the like man flu over here, complaining about it being cold, and I'm like in a
Oh
little
no.
jacket. And I'm usually the one at home that he freezes out because he puts the friggin' air conditioner on at 65. And I'm like, can we not turn this up? I don't want snow like appearing in my
Coming through the
house.
air vent.
Yes. It's warmer outside in December than it is in our house. But yeah. How are you doing?
I'm cold. I'm in my sloth. It's like an old sloth sweatshirt, if you can see that,
Oh.
if you're viewing the video version. Just trying to stay warm. But let's get into sweet and sours. Tell me something sweet.
So I kind of stole my sweet because I had a really good weekend. I got to go gambling, which I don't get to go very often. I lost money, but I still had a good time. So that's, still a sweet. And then got to go to the soccer game, which was really good. So yeah, I had a really good weekend.
What kind of gambling is this? Is this like slot machine?
Yes, yes.
Oh
I
my
like my
God, you're
slot
such a
machines.
grandma.
I know.
You're like my
And
mom.
funny enough, the first time I went gambling was with my grandma. When I was 18, I went to visit her in Washington, which is legal at 18. And so I blame her fully. It's her
Yeah.
fault. But yeah.
I haven't set foot in a casino since just being, I went with my mom, my aunt, my dad was there, my sister, and it was just horrible. It was embarrassing. Like my mom's side of the family legit has a gambling problem, and it's just not fun to see people like at this low and they're just like basically auctioning off the jewelry that they're wearing to have more money on hand. Yeah. Yeah.
See,
It's like not good.
I won't even let us take money out of the ATM there because they charge so much to take money out of the ATM. I'm like, nope, I'll just leave. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just not fun. So after that experience, I was like, and I am never doing this again.
Well,
So,
I mean, it was an anti-gambling experience for you, so it worked.
hmm
My sour is I thought After We Fell was going to come out this weekend. And so I was all jazzed up to watch that, and it did not come out. And I don't want to pay for it. I want it to be on Netflix for free.
hmm yeah,
It's a problem for me right now.
yeah. I paid for After We Collided last time, and if I would have just waited a couple weeks, it would have been on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, not falling for that again. I'm with you. But we do plan to have, or hopefully have David on for that one, because it'll
Hmm.
be hilarious.
Yes, yes. We plan on making him watch that one as well.
Yeah, so if you're listening, David, please just go watch the first two movies. There's no reason. You can literally play them in the background.
Yes. They're not that long either. It's not like 3 hours. It's an hour and a half or something. 3 hours total.
Yeah.
What about you? Sweet and sour, Sandra.
Yeah, my sour. So COVID has struck Vincent's school again. So his teacher tested positive for it, a classmate, so a 4-year-old tested positive for it. So we got the Sarah alert stuff each day that we have to update, like symptoms and everything like
Hmm.
that we have to complete. Then they sent a message that they're closing down the school until the 29th. I mean, this will long be over by then, by the time this episode's released, but I've been trying to work from home while having Vincent at home, which is just like not happening. I'm like,
It's
here we go
super
again.
easy.
But flipping this, so the sweet, I guess, is I'm going to take all of Thanksgiving week off. We get like half of Wednesday off and then Thursday and Friday for the holiday, but I'm just taking the whole week off. So even though Vincent will still be home, so I'm still going to have to watch him and do all of that mom stuff, I do hope to have some relaxation time in and more time for reading and watching Netflix and stuff like that. So that's a sweet, I guess.
I wish I was off all next week.
Only the half week too.
Yeah, my kids are off starting Wednesday, and I'm off starting Thursday.
But what about Justin?
He, I think, gets off the Thursday and Friday as well. So our kids are going to be living their best life all by themselves on Wednesday.
Mm-mm, party.
Yes. No. Okay. So I was watching the soccer game and it reminded me so much of my kids because, and don't get offended if you play soccer and this is you. So don't get offended because I was sitting there watching them and like one dude like elbowed the other dude and he like fell down and rolled and then the other one who elbowed him was like, I don't know what happened, I don't know what I did, like I didn't do anything. And I'm like, that's so my kids, like one will like hit the other one like, I don't know why he's crying,
Yeah.
I don't know, no clue. And yeah.
I love the theatrics.
Yes, like it's just like a show. I don't know. I didn't do anything. I just kicked him, but he should be fine.
It's really encouraging that these grown men are still this way all these decades later. That makes me
I'm
feel great.
I mean, to their defense, that's kind of what they're supposed to do in hopes that a ref will like side with them. But I was just like picturing my kids the whole time out there, like, she pulled my hair.
You just superimpose like Michael's face on the soccer player.
Yes. And Carly, like, I don't know why he's doing this. Like, I didn't do anything. I may have kicked him, but I don't know why. It was amusing me.
I'm glad.
So today, guys, we decided we are going to go a little bit more a comedic route. Enough of the serious and somber episodes for you guys. What we're going to talk about today is actually the number 2 movie on Netflix right now, and it is called Red Notice.
It was number 1 when I checked last.
Oh, okay. So it moved up.
I did watch it today.
So yeah, yesterday is when I checked and it was number 2. So maybe it moved up. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're listening to this, maybe it's even, well, it can't be higher than 1. So that was a dumb comment, but maybe it's still a
Tara's pretty smart.
1. Yes, yes.
You can ask her for help on your chemistry homework, but
I can't count to 2 though. But anyway, so this movie stars Gal Gadot, The Rock or Dwayne Johnson, and Ryan Reynolds, who is my personal favorite. It is very, very funny. It starts out with a premise that Ryan Reynolds is a international thief. Gal Gadot is also an international thief, and they kind of vie for like top international thief in the world. And then The Rock's character is an FBI agent who is tasked with finding Ryan Reynolds' character. In doing this, they kind of catch up with Ryan Reynolds as he's trying to steal one of the 3 eggs that were a part of Cleopatra's eggs, which I don't know if that's a real thing. Like, I'd never heard of that before. So I think it's a made up thing, but I didn't research. So we're just going to go with it's made up.
someone's going to fact check this.
Yeah, they're going to be like, you're dumb.
Call us
Okay.
out.
But we already know that I'm dumb. So let's just move on. But anyway, so Ryan Reynolds is trying to steal all 3 eggs, which the 3rd one is kind of unknown location right now in the movie. And so he's trying to steal all 3 of them because a really, really wealthy guy wants to give them to his daughter, who is also named Cleopatra, for her wedding present. And so he has said that he will pay, what was it, 300 million to whoever can find all 3 eggs for him. And so Gal Gadot's character, the bishop, is also searching for these eggs. And then Ryan Reynolds' character, Nolan Booth, is searching for them. And The Rock is trying to find Ryan's character.
And then madness
Yeah,
ensues.
madness ensues, and that is as far as I can get without giving any spoilers. So, spoilers are to come throughout this episode because there are some twists in this, but it is a very funny movie. It is quintessential Ryan Reynolds, though, I think. Like there's quippy comebacks, quippy things in it. So if you like Ryan Reynolds, you are going to love this movie. If you don't, hopefully you still like the movie.
I was trying to remember back to like the earliest comedy kind of movie that I watched starring Ryan Reynolds, and it might have been just Friends.
Was Van Wilder before that?
Yes, I think so. Hmm.
I think that's the first one I saw.
Okay.
But back then he wasn't, I don't know, he wasn't as quippy as he is now, if that makes sense. Like he took the like, I don't know, not gross humor, but like kind of that humor more than he does now, if that makes sense. Which I'm not saying anything bad about that. He just has a different sarcastic
Yeah,
humor now than he did then.
just Friends, I remember he did have some of those little quippy moments, but I think Ryan Reynolds has always been really good at that under your breath kind of humor, just
Yes,
kind of the
yes.
offhand comments that he says that, and it's always said
And his
very
timing
dry.
of those.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's what I remember about Just Friends. So, I mean, this was like your stereotypical heist and chase movie and like
Mm-hmm.
physical humor and
And I don't know if they did this on purpose, but you can tell that they did not film in the locations that they were trying to show because, like, you could tell that it wasn't the location. It was like some sort of like green screen or something. And I don't know if they did that on purpose just to, like,
it wasn't in Rome and Bali.
no, it wasn't. I'm smart enough to figure that out, guys. I don't know if that was like intentional or if that was like a budget thing because they did have three kind of big names. So maybe they ate up their budget with that. I still really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it was fun. There, I mean, the movie starts off, it's very action-packed adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Rock's character just kind of barges into this museum or whatever the crap place it is, and he's just like, if the egg hasn't already been stolen. And so they start chasing Nolan Booth or Ryan, and they're just going everywhere. And are you really in Italy if there's not scaffolds everywhere?
Yes. And his like getting away from the security guards on that scaffold, like he just kept pulling things. And I'm like, at some point it's gonna fall down on you too.
Yeah. No, I like the part where he like tells the guy on the moped to like hold this and like hops on the moped and rides away. And then The Rock sees this Porsche and he like jumps
Yes.
into it and you think there's going to be like this badass car race and then he just
Yeah.
immediately crashes into a van.
Well, and I like the right before that, like the inspector from Interpol was like, now don't do anything like basically American. Don't like go crazy and like act all cowboy, as she said.
Yeah.
And then he jumps in this car and then just wrecks it. And I'm like, that would be what she means. Like, don't do that right there.
Yeah, I was
Um,
laughing so much because it was that, yeah, I was expecting like this a Bond-like kind of absurd car chase through Rome, and no, he immediately fender bendered.
yes. And then he's like, crap. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, I don't know. I think it was a movie that played up every one of their like characters in real life too. So like Ryan Reynolds is that quippy, like if you ever like go onto his Twitter, like that is him. That is his relationship with his wife. That is him as a person. And then The Rock, it played up the fact that like he works out all the time and like he's huge and he's, all of these things. And then Gal Gadot, it played up the fact that she is freaking gorgeous and like she is known as the gorgeous woman and like people don't think that she can be smart or intelligent or strategic because she is pretty and that's all she's worth. And so I think it played up all three of their like real
Hmm.
lives in the movie. Something else that I thought was kind of a neat Easter egg is when Ryan Reynolds drinks in the movie, he is drinking aviation wine, which is, or aviation gin, sorry, not wine. I'm thinking wine right now, apparently. Aviation wine. Wow. I'm having problems today, guys. Aviation Gin, which is his gin company. And then when The Rock drinks an alcoholic drink, it's his tequila company. I think it's tequila. Don't at me now, okay? But his brand of alcohol that he sells. And so it's kind of like a little Easter egg of their companies in there too, which I thought was kind of funny.
One part that I had to like freeze it to make sure I read it correctly was when Ryan Reynolds successfully escapes from him in Rome the first time, and he's like pulling up to his beach house in that little boat, and it says, "We're gonna make it, Rose," on the side of the little wooden boat. I was like, oh, yeah, Titanic reference.
Yes, yes.
Loved it.
I missed that, but Justin caught that. And I'm like, it was great. I missed it completely though.
That's just, can you imagine being married to Ryan Reynolds? He's just like, and then having him as a dad.
I would love to be Blake Lively. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I love Blake Lively. Yeah, she would be the person that if I could be somebody, I would want to be her.
Hmm.
Not specifically for Ryan Reynolds, but like that's not a bad addition to the deal.
Yeah, and she's apparently friends with Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm. And just made her directorial debut with the
Yeah.
Taylor Swift video. I bet you
Yeah.
think about me.
Oh my gosh. That
I
whole
loved that.
chef's kiss. Yep.
Yes.
I was trying to think of like where it hops to next because his character gets arrested, but The Rock's character gets quote unquote framed. So they both go to a Russian prison together.
Yes.
And this was one of the funniest scenes of the movie, in my opinion.
Yes, because Ryan's there first, right? And he's like
Yes.
up in his bed, and then the Rock gets put into his cell, and he's like, "Welcome." And then they go to the like lunch or whatever. And Ryan Reynolds' character is like, "I will not tell them that you're a police officer. I will not." And he's saying it like very loud, like obviously telling them, but saying that he is not telling them. And The Rock's character's like, stop it now. And Ryan doesn't. And then like The Rock gets beat up by this dude. And Ryan Reynolds' quote from that is, "All that working out and you still got your ass kicked by a toothless man with tuberculosis." and, and it was perfect. It was a perfect scene.
I was not expecting that guy to have those swift kick moves and stuff and just like lay him out on his ass. I was not
Yes.
expecting that at all.
Ryan Reynolds' character did that for a reason, because in the ensuing melee, he swiped one of the guards' cards. And so, one of the things about his character in the movie is that he is a great escape artist. So, he has escaped multiple prisons. And so you see the Rock's character like, "Hey, help me escape," and they hatch a plan to like go in on this escape together. But you didn't know how long like Nolan had been working on this. And you see it when they do get their escape hatched, because you see his plans in this, and his first plan was to get the card, and then they have to build this wall out of rocks. And so Nolan like put a rock there to where all he had to do was move one rock and the whole wall fell. And that was how
Rock
they escaped.
Jenga.
Yes, yeah. And that's how they escaped. And so it was really, really funny.
Yeah, I like the little exchange that they had leading up to that point because Nolan is very reluctant to work with The Rock to escape. And so The
Mm-hmm.
Rock is like trying to talk him into it. And he says, "If we work together to catch her, I can do things to the bishop that you can't." And Nolan was just like, "There's no need to be disgusting." He's just like, I love those little liners like that. It just like gets me.
I also like when they are escaping and the Rock's like, "Okay, I'll hold him off. You go get the helicopter." And so Ryan Reynolds goes to the helicopter, and like he sees this explosion and like the bridge collapses, and he's like, "I'll miss you, buddy. Bye." And he's not even gonna wait on him. He's just like, "Peace." Like,
Yeah.
and then the Rock shows back up, and he's like, "You weren't gonna wait on me?" And he was like, "I thought you were dead."
Yeah. But that whole prison scene, I mean, when they were doing like their chores or their job tasks in the prison and stuff, and Ryan Reynolds is just like, why are you wearing a hairnet? You're bald. He's just like looking
Yes.
at him, not saying a thing.
And then when Ryan blows up the little thing, he's like, "What do you get when you mix this and this?" And The Rock's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, you might want to start running." And they go and hide, and it just blows up.
Yeah. There was also, and so David, shout out to David, because David was complaining about The Rock being cast in this role. Like, I guess maybe David's problem is just The Rock is in so many things all the time, in this kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was when they were making their way, crawling along the wall up high, trying to get to the helicopter. And The Rock's like, "Can you fly a helicopter?" He's like, "Does the back of your head look like a huge penis?" He's like, "Yeah, yes." And I was chuckling so hard. I
Yes,
was like,
like
"Yeah, the back of his head does kind of look like a huge penis."
I think some of these jokes would not have hit as hard if you didn't know the personalities of the characters, because like these are things that like The Rock hears all the time, like "you're bald" and things like that, and "you're really too big to be losing a fight with this little dude," and
Yeah.
like the what was the midget comment, or the like
Oh,
toddler, not
yeah, he
midget.
looks like a over-muscled toddler or something, a muscular toddler, which he did. He totally
Oh
did.
yeah, and that was about the
I can't pronounce his name. The
drug
short
lord, right?
guy with the masquerade ball.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Did he not sound like Albus Dumbledore to you?
He did. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect him to have that voice.
Yes, yes. I was listening to him. I'm like, wait a minute, I've heard this voice. It doesn't match the like drug lord or whatever he was. I couldn't keep a straight face from then on.
I also liked how, like, back at the prison, there was that Russian prison guard who was on Instagram, just like going through Vladimir Putin's like feed and just like liking every
Shirtless
photo.
shirtless pictures. Yes.
Yeah. That whole thing was great.
And then we get to more about the bishop, because she teams up with them, kind of teams up with them a little bit, to get the third egg, because she's like, "Hey, I already have the first two now ish. And if you help me get the third one, then I can help you get unframed and, free or whatever." And so they kind of team up with her, and hilarity ensues on her part because she plays up her dumb, pretty vibe a little bit.
Yeah, this goes back to what you were saying earlier, but it's like I love how each of the three characters, like the writers of this movie just completely embraced the tropes for each of those
Mm-hmm.
characters. Like I loved it. Like one scene in particular when they were in prison and they were kind of sharing dad stories. Well, The Rock wasn't sharing his dad's story, but Nolan was like sharing his dad's story with the watch. And then that takes us to like the location of the third egg. But it was like that scene, it could have been like so cheesy and stuff, but it was
Mm-hmm.
because this movie just like goes all in embracing these movie tropes like this that made it great. And so I love when they finally get a hold of the third egg and and Nolan drops it and he's like 5 second rule.
Yes. Yes. And The Rock's like, "Dude, you just dropped a priceless artifact." And so the egg ended up in like a Nazi bunker, where like all of the stolen Nazi like artifacts and things like that, the artifacts that they had when they were losing World War I or two, and they like kind of all collected them in Argentina. And so that's where this egg was. And so they're down in this bunker of all kinds of historical artifacts. And he opens, and something funny in that scene is like they were like, "How are we going to find the egg and all of this?" Because there's all crates and stuff. And then Ryan Reynolds is like, points to the box, and it said Cleopatra on it. He's like, "Thank you, Nazis." Or something very similar. He's like, "Way to be, way to be." And then he picks it up and then he drops it. And The Rock's character's like, "Dude, it's a priceless artifact. Don't be dropping it."
Yeah, but it's 5 second rule. Come on.
Yeah, five
Yeah,
second rule.
I love that. He's so childlike.
And then Gal Gadot's character shows up and tries to steal it, but then so do the police. And so they all start shooting at the police. And Ryan Reynolds is like, "Dude, aren't they on your side?" To The Rock. And he's like, "Yeah, but they're shooting at me first."
I love The Rock's outfit on the airplane. Like he was put in like some teenage 80s girl type of outfit with like those acid wash jeans and
And the
like
sparkles.
yeah.
And then Ryan Reynolds' character is like, hey, I don't think you sparkle enough. We need to get you more sparkles.
I loved it.
Yeah.
There, yeah, some
I
good laughs.
I am surprised, and I think that they did, but I don't remember now. But did they put him in a turtleneck at the beginning?
Yes, they
Yes.
did.
Okay. So that's that like 90s picture of The Rock coming back because he was in the turtleneck and the black turtleneck and he had the fanny pack on. And it is absolutely hysterical. And then in that scene too is where he has the little leather jacket on where Ryan Reynolds' character quips that, somewhere some cow is naked but saying worth it.
Yeah, that's a favorite too.
And then, so we get a little bit further, and Gal Gadot's character has teamed up with the drug lord to get the third egg.
The
Or
long con.
he had the second egg, and so she teamed up with him to get the second egg, and then kind of trick Ryan Reynolds' character into giving her the location of the third egg. And by doing that, or into to do that, that's the word I was looking for. To do that, she tortures the Rock's character, and she takes like the little like I don't know electrocuting things and electrocutes
They
him
look like,
and
yeah, cable
like
jumpers for a car or something.
yeah,
Yep.
and she electrocutes him and she starts singing downtown and Ryan Reynolds is like it's okay, like
Let
I'll
it
let him
happen.
suffer, it's fine. And so she electrocuted him downtown, which comes up again later because the lone con is the Rock's character, John Hartley, and the bishop are together. And that's how they like the bishop is the best, is there are actually two of them together doing all of these heists. And so they kind of screw over Ryan Reynolds' character in the end. But it's really funny because there's a quip about the fact that when Ryan Reynolds figures out that they're together and he's like, but you electrocuted him downtown.
Yeah.
And The Rock is like, yes, she did.
I like that comment she made. Yeah, in the game of chess, there are two bishops and a board full of pawns. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, poor Ryan, you're a pawn.
Yes. And I like her comment when they were in the prison because she kind of was in with the Russian prison guards too. And she makes a comment about how she's actually number one in the thieves because she has been really successful. And Ryan's like, no, I'm number one. She's like, no, I am. He's like, well, tell me when you've beat me. And she lists off these cities and like he has an excuse for every single one. And then like the last one was like, nobody knew Miley Cyrus was going to be there. It was an unannounced concert. And it's just great. And she's like, you can either have results or excuses. You can't have both.
Laying down the law.
Yeah, I think her character is the one that I'm like, I love you. Like you had everybody wrapped around your finger no matter what. You got your way and everything. Like she got to like torture her boyfriend.
Yeah.
She got to win over Ryan Reynolds and she had all of the other guys just wrapped around her finger. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were playing up the dumb pretty, but she was using her looks to her advantage.
Very conniving. Yeah, she
Mm-hmm.
was the mastermind.
Yes.
I this was such a refreshing. I don't typically watch a lot of lighter movies, but this one was so refreshing and funny. The dialogue was so good, so funny. It had everything you expect from a heist movie with car chases, and there was even like an Indiana Jones feeling kind of vibe in that
Yes.
escape
Yes.
scene when they're driving and go through the waterfall.
Yes.
But I love like the bro love between The Rock and Nolan's character too. He's just like, "You love me. You love me." It's like this little game the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah. Because didn't Ryan Reynolds' character try and go back in and save the rock in the water? And he like
Hmm.
laid down the egg, and then the rock comes up, and he's like, "You went back
Yeah, he was
for
like,
me?"
You picked me over the egg?"
And
Yeah,
then he
no.
told him that he was working with Gal Gadot the whole time.
Yeah.
So right as Ryan starts to love him, he's like, "But by the way."
But then, at the end of the movie, they're all three working together. It was such a fun movie. After that freaking documentary you made me watch, and Me before you. I was like, thank you.
Okay, can we talk about the wedding scene where the dad gives the
Oh my
eggs to
God.
his daughter, and to get themselves out of trouble, they basically called this into the police so that the police caught the dad with all three eggs, and then they ended up getting the eggs back. But Ed Sheeran was also playing.
I like how Cleopatra freaks out about Ed too. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you were just given three 2,000-year-old eggs, and then she sees Ed and she like freaks out like
Yes,
a
and her dad's behind her like, I went through a lot of hard work to get these eggs, and this is what, like, this is the best part of this. And then her husband's just kind of sitting there like,
yeah, good for nothing. He's spam
yeah,
taking
yeah.
up space.
But Ed, like, the police break in, and Ed, like, what does he do? Does he hit one of them with like the guitar or something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember.
He like does something to one of the police officers, so then he's getting arrested, and he's like, do you know who I am? And he's like, I was in Game of Thrones. and,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I feel like that's not the first thing Ed Sheeran would say if he were ever to say, do you know who I am? Like, I feel like he would bring up his music maybe first, than his like 5 seconds in Game of Thrones.
Ed is like the kindest ginger on the face of the earth.
Yes,
It's like completely out of character for him to say something like that legitimately. Yeah, that was a great scene. That was funny.
yes, yes. I loved it.
Some good laughs.
Mm-hmm. Any other quotes that you were just like, this got me?
No, I would have to go back and just rewatch it. There were a lot of them. I just can't recall them, but I mean, the movie is just filled with like very subtle dialogue like that. It just makes me want to go watch more Ryan Reynolds movies.
Yeah. So one of the other ones that I really loved is the inspector when she catches up with Nolan Booth. She's like, hey, you're wanted in 18 countries, but like every time we detain you, you escape. And she's like, what are you, 6 for 6 now? And he was like, yeah, but one more and I get my Shawshank jacket.
Yeah, I love that one. Hmm.
Oh. And then she's like, keep making your jokes because I'm gonna send you to the worst place in the world. And that was Russia. But he's like, your Instagram account.
Yeah.
Oh, and I thought that was just kind of like a play on Ryan Reynolds' Instagram account, because that's what he would say on his Instagram account. So yeah,
Good chuckles.
it was just a very, very funny movie. And I think it's also one that you can watch with kids, because I did
Hmm.
watch it with my kids. And while it's kind of like some of those like movies that I watched as a kid, I didn't get all of the humor because it kind of went over my head. So I know my kids didn't get all of the humor, but I think that they got a good chuckle out of it too. And it was definitely safe to watch with them. I mean, minus the penis comment.
But I mean, his head did look like a huge penis.
It does. Like, he's little, yeah.
Okay, we don't have to describe the... Okay. Tara's a
We
little
might be a little
controlling.
punch drunk right
I think
now.
she's, yeah. Mhm. Hmm.
It's been a long day, guys.
I feel like Tara's been
Um,
winding it up.
hence me not knowing the difference between wine and gin right now, or the difference between 1 and 2, and that you can't get any better than one. We're just gonna chalk this episode up to Tara being dumb the whole time. It's okay. But definitely recommend it if you're just in for a fun movie. Not going to learn anything from it. Sorry, guys. Not going to learn a thing. Sandra, why don't you tell them? Because we are bad at telling everybody how to contact us and where to find us. Why don't you tell them our
We are at Story Darlings on Instagram and Twitter and storydarlings@gmail.com. So, yeah, if you want to send us a note or interact with us on social media, it's just at Story Darlings. That's our handle everywhere.
or you have a very good idea of what we should talk about next?
Ooh, which reminds me, we do need to put up a poll about the next kind of throwback episode to do while I watch all of these episodes of Angel. I've only gotten through like 4 episodes.
So I
Some
have to
things
go
did
back.
not age well, okay?
I have to go back and rewatch them too. So
I missed the boat on Angel, I think. Yeah, I totally did. There were some things that are not PC whatsoever.
But I think a lot of shows back in like the early 2000s were not super
Yeah.
PC. Like there are some comments and things, and you're like, yeah, that would not be allowed on the air.
But anyway, we'll put up that poll. If you want to contact at us, just at Story Darlings. And if you would like to leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts, we would love you to do that. But this was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Better than much better time than
Yes.
before.
Yes. And just a happy episode instead of a downer episode.
Yeah, more of this, please.
Well, we do plan on doing Gilmore Girls soon, so we'll have another happy episode soon too.
Yep, that'll be a good one. Well, thanks for listening. Until next week.
Have a good week.
All right, bye.
Bye.